I wanted to give everybody a heads up of what's coming over the next couple months. We will be continuing our Sunday gatherings at 10 o'clock right here in person and online, and all of our special services that we would normally do through the holiday season. Everything will be happening on Sundays at 10 o'clock. So whether we're doing Kwanzaa or solstice or Christmas or Yule or whatever the thing is, it will be here on Sunday at 10 o'clock. All right? So hopefully that just simplifies life for everybody. I know it does for me. All right. I got some feedback this week about our conversation on relationships with Yvette Trujillo, who joined me last week. And lots of feedback from some of you who were stirred up around the ideas we were discussing last week in relationship. And I said to every one of you, hang on, because we haven't even finished yet. So I want to continue our conversation on relationships today and talk about, the definition of relationship, which distilled down means the state of being connected. The state of being connected. How many of you in your life right now feel like you spend conscious time in the state of connection? Yes. Because the reality is we're in connection to something at all times, right? But when we begin to bring real conscious awareness to our connections to one another, to our connections to our beloveds, whether they are romantic partners or friends or family or children or parents or whatever that may be, bringing conscious awareness to those connections can be a game changer to the totality of our lives. How many of you are seeking different kinds of connection? Many of you. And what do we imagine is in the way? Our thoughts, ourselves. I'm watching all the finger pointing. Jerry? Expectations. We could do a whole series on that. Say louder. Fear of loss. Fear of rejection, anybody? Yeah. Fear of vulnerability. Just fear. Just fear. Frank, what is this, just fear of everything? Embracing it all. It's exactly what we are being asked to do, right? In spiritual practice, when we are saying yes to spiritual living, we have to be willing to embrace it all. We have to be willing to recognize that all of our connections, the ones that we are in, the ones that we are not in, the ones we would like, the ones we don't like, they are all part of the wholeness that is our spiritual wholeness, that is our spiritual life. And we have to embrace it all. We have to welcome that entire experience. But one of the things that I've been thinking a lot about in spiritual community is we have a tendency, as we do in so many things, is to start to get into duality around relationships, right? We think of our spiritual connections and the other ones, right? Our spiritual friendships, I even remember in much of my life before I really grew up, was thinking that I wanted a spiritual partner. Anybody else? I wanted a spiritual partner. I wanted my romantic partner to be a spiritual relationship, as if there was some other possibility. Like, for real. Like, if it's all one, then they're all spiritual relationships, yes? But again, it matters what consciousness we bring to it, what awareness we bring to it, and what kind of honesty we are willing to look at ourselves with. And then we get into law of attraction. And then we get into the law of attraction around many things, but law of attraction around relationship. And then it gets really confusing because there's metaphysical attraction and then there's like physical attraction. And they are not the same thing. And boy, does that get confusing. Anybody? Yeah. Anybody online? Put it in the comments chat. I know it's confusing, but here's the deal. I'm going to try and elementary break it down. Physical attraction is based on polarity. It's actually based on opposite. We tend to be physically attracted to someone who has a polar opposite way of being to us. So typically that looks like someone with a feminine energy is going to be attracted to someone with a more masculine energy, having nothing to do with gender, by the way. It's an energetic thing. We tend to be attracted to our opposite in that way. However, in metaphysics, like attracts like, which could explain some of the mess we find ourselves in upon occasion. Yes? Because we don't love the idea that like attracts like. We don't love the idea that every relationship we are currently in, all of them, friendships, co-work relationships, romantic partnerships, familiar relationships, neighbors, all of those relationships are metaphysically accurate. We are always attracting metaphysically to us what we are. Take a minute. Scan your relationship life for a moment and understand that every relationship you are currently inhabiting, whatever role you are playing in it, is a reflection of you. Any relationships, as you scan your relationship landscape, that you would rather not claim as a reflection of yourself? Any relationships in your relationship landscape right now that's hard for you to accept that they are a reflection of who you are? Maybe you think they're so fabulous that they couldn't possibly be a reflection of you. Or maybe you think they're so broken they couldn't be a reflection of you. But if we believe in the metaphysical reality of the universe, that vibrational frequencies cannot hold space with things that are wildly different than themselves, then every relationship you are in is a vibrational match. Everyone. Ernest Holmes says, like attracts like. And it is also true that we may become attracted to something which is greater than our previous experience by first embodying the atmosphere of our desire. I love that so much. Because here's the thing. How many of us would like to see some changes in our relationships? Whether we want to attract new love, whether we would like a healthier interaction with some of our family members. And if it feels outside of our current experience, it probably is. If you are not having the experience you want to be having right now, there is a shift that gets to happen. And one of the ways to do that, Ernest is telling us, is to embody the desire for the experience you would like to be having. So I'm going to take us through a process for a minute, and I invite you, those of you watching online, to close your eyes along with us and do this as well. So just close your eyes if you're willing, take a few deep breaths, and bring into your mind's eye a desired experience of relationship. What would you like to be experiencing that maybe is not present in your current experience. And I want you to allow yourself to feel the desire for that. To really sink into not only the wish, but the longing. How badly you want to be having this experience, and allow yourself to feel that longing, to feel that desire. Let it get juicy. And then I want you to allow that feeling to move through your whole being. Let it expand out into your arms. Expand out into your toes, all the way down out through the bottoms of your feet. Let it grow up through your neck and shoulders and through the top of your head, expanding beyond your body. And I want you to ask yourself, can you allow this very feeling to shift and change how you are thinking and how you are being about your relationships? I was thinking, I don't know who said it, but the longest journey we'll ever take is the journey from head to heart. 18 inches, yeah. And Rumi says, love is the bridge between you and everything. Love is the bridge between you and everything. And if that is what we believe, right, as Scott said, that it is ours to be love. It is ours to make a way for the love that I call God to move and have its being on this planet. And I can't think of a greater demonstration of that love than in our relationships. The reality is that's probably our greatest classroom, right, in life, is the way we relate to one another. The way we build bridges between ourselves in circumstances, like Nancy shared, that seem impossible. That seem like there cannot be a bridge. And yet Rumi brings us back to love is the thing that bridges everything. There is no set of circumstances, there is no person who is outside of that possibility. And we argue with life. I thought Ari's sharing was this beautiful demonstration of how we argue with life. And I wanted to share from Byron Katie, her book, Loving What Is. People new to the work, which is the name of what she provides, what she teaches. People new to the work often say to me, but it would be disempowering to stop my argument with reality. If I simply accept reality, I'll become passive. I may even lose the desire to act. And I answer them with the question, can you really know that that is true? Which is more empowering? I wish I hadn't lost my job, or I lost my job, what can I do now? And I think that's part of the deal with relationships is we spend a lot of time in fear. We spend a lot of time trying to avoid the reality we find ourselves in, whether that is a reality of not the relationship I want, or the reality of this person is being exactly who they are and I don't like it, or the reality of I am having an experience that I don't want to be having, and I don't actually want to be in that reality. So I do all this stuff to push that reality away, to argue with that reality. I wish this weren't so. I wish they would just do what I say. I wish, my thighs were 2 inches smaller. I wish, blah, blah. All of those things, all of the ways that we busy ourselves, all the ways that we numb ourselves, all the ways that we push reality away. Even the ways we do that in spiritual community by spiritual bypassing, right? La, 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 all is well, all is well. God has got it. It's going to be fine. All is well. But I'm just not going to look real close at it. All of that is arguing with reality. And the exercise I just took us through, here's the nuanced difference between being fully present with what is and being fully present with a different desired experience. They are not in conflict. But it is not until we really allow ourselves to be with what is. I thought Nancy's example was perfect. Being totally present with the differences in those relationships. Being totally heart open to the reality of the differences. We may be on opposite ends of the political spectrum, and I can be totally present to that reality and desire to have an experience of love with that person. And allow my greater desire to be love to move me into connection. Even if I think that's not possible. But it's because the desire to experience connection, the desire to be love is greater than the BS we think is true. Which is why I love the Byron Katie question. Is that really true? Is this person really unlovable? Is this person someone I cannot connect with just because we have political disagreement? Is that really true? Or is what Rumi says, love is the bridge between you and everything, more true? Scott saying it's as simple as asking for what I want. Is that more true than believing I can't have what I want and everybody sucks? Do we want to just continue to be in argument with reality? Or do we want to go so deeply into reality, lean so far into our actual experience that we can then allow ourselves to be with what we actually want, what we deeply desire? And where it's missing, we get to be honest with ourselves about that. And we get to allow that deep desire to be the thing that moves us. We can trust that desire. One of my favorite things to remind people is your desire is God's desire. They are not different things. So if you are desiring more love in your life, if you are desiring more connection, that is God's desire through you. And rather than arguing with life and poop and being just all up in the pout about that not being what is so, what if you just got deep into the desire for it? And brought your full attention to being an embodiment of that desire. Ernest Holmes, the founder of our teaching, is saying this is how we grow beyond our current circumstances that we would like to have change. Is we embody the desire for where we're trying to go. We embody the desire for how we would like it to be. But I don't think we actually know what we really want until we get really honest with what is. I think we tell a lot of stories about what we want. The story I used to tell in my 20s about that spiritual partner. Good Lord, have mercy. That is not what I wanted. And it kept showing up, and I would be like, what the hell is this? Not what I was thinking. But as we get more present to what is, to what really is, the parts we like, the parts we don't like, the places that feel out of alignment, the places that feel deeply in alignment, when we get really present to that, we can let the desire for more alignment, for more expression of love, to come into our being rather than just be a story we're telling. Because the reality is the way that we attract metaphysically is based on science. It is a vibrational fact. But if we are not getting honest about where we are currently vibrating at, then we are not at choice about doing anything differently. We just hang out and like, la 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 la, I'm just gonna keep my little blinders on. And that's part of the bitter pill in spiritual transformation. That word transformation, it's really like, it's cute and it seems so glossy. I'm transforming. And the reality is, it's like, oh, wow, that's a reality I have not wanted to look closely at. Getting really honest with the conditions of our lives as a result of our vibrational reality it can be tough work to really look honestly at the landscape we find ourselves living in. And then look at, okay, how am I participating in the co-creation of this landscape? And then doing so in a way that it's just information, right? Getting honest about like, okay, if this is what's showing up in my life, and this is a measure of what I am vibrationally attracting, when I can get honest about that and be like, okay, this probably says something about where I'm resonating at right now, where I'm vibrating at right now. This is not an opportunity to beat ourselves up. This is not an opportunity to blame ourselves for our woefully lacking consciousness. But it is an opportunity to get some information. And just honestly look at, okay, I'm not having the relationship experience I want to be having. Okay. What do I want to be having? What do I want to be experiencing? And let me take this opportunity, after I've recognized the reality I am finding myself in, let me allow that reality to move me deeply into my desire. What do I deeply desire? And because I know how it works, as soon as we begin to shift out of denial, out of arguing with reality, out of pouting, and move into that desire, move into that experience that we would like to be having, even if we don't know what it looks like, doesn't matter. But if we know how it feels, we now shift our vibrational reality. As soon as we move into that feeling, as soon as we shift into how good it is to be experiencing greater love, I have just raised my frequency, which now shifts my reality. That's how it works in metaphysics. I can't help you so much with your romantic attractions. That's all you. But when we can get honest with ourselves and step fully bring our full attention, prioritize the good vibrations we want to be hanging out in, it will change the landscape. We do get to have what we want. And it is as simple as asking. But we got to ask in here first. What's out of alignment? What would alignment feel like? What would greater love feel like? Do I believe I get to have it? Rumi also says, and I believe Clarissa shared this in Spirit Calling this week, your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. And that really is always the work. Whatever you want to shift in your life, whether it's relationships or health or money or whatever it is that you would like to be having a different experience of, the only task in front of you is to honestly assess the barriers within yourself that you could remove so that love bridge to everything is accessible. So one last thing. Let's all take another moment. Let's go within. And I'm going to have you locate a barrier. Whatever that might look like in your life, whatever it might sound like or feel like, whatever words you may give to this barrier, I want you to identify what's one thing that could be in the way for you right now. And I invite you to join us on Facebook and YouTube. What is one thing that can be in the way for you right now? Wow, y'all had a lot to say about your barriers. There's a lot of chitty chat. I can't wait to see what y'all have said on the comments. All right, but here's what I know about barriers. We entirely make them up. And here's what I know about prayer, is we get to entirely undo them. So let's take your little pesky barriers into prayer. Because what I know about the one is it is all powerful, ever present, never missing, and it is always good. We could call it the good. And because I know that the one is present right here, right now, all powerful, ever good and great and love itself, I know that every single soul in this room, every single soul on Facebook and YouTube right now is the very presence of that love. So any experience of barrier, any experience of something in the way simply dissipates because God is never in the way. God is the way. God is the love that is the bridge that takes us to all the places we've ever dreamed. All the experiences we could even begin to imagine that we want to be having are right here, right now. And the bridge and the way to those experiences is ever available because that is the nature of God. And the nature of God is your nature and my nature. And every atom, every piece of life, everything that we can see and everything beyond what we can see is that love, is that possibility, is the way to where we are headed. So I absolutely know with deep gratitude that there's nothing in the way. There's only what we make up. And if we make it up, we can stop making it up and make it up different now. And I know that we each say yes to making up more love. I know that we each say yes to being the way God gets here, to being the way love grows and expands its expression on this planet. That is what we are each doing here. I know it without a doubt. And so I just let that truth, that reality unfold in all of its beauty, knowing the goodness of God is the goodness of me and the goodness of you. That is all that is actually true. I let it be. And we all claim this truth together by saying,
We celebrate.
Amen, y'all. Amen. Thank you.